Hey guys, welcome back to another weekly watch list where we go over all the given levels, all setups, news, earnings reports, bias narrative across not only the indexes but also the market overall as a whole. So let's start off as always with the earnings this week. Nothing significant other than really GameStop, Oracle. If you look at GME, it's kind of a joke stock at this point, right? But we could have something on ORCL here, so just something to keep in mind there. Potentially on earnings report for Thursday. Adobe very rarely ever has volume on the contract, so it's not something I could really look at for anything other than maybe a swing, possibly, and even then it's just a one contract kind of trade. So that would be it for that on earnings. Really, there's nothing to be aware of. This week we have no news also almost at all in the first half of the week, and then the following rest of the week it's all pre-market just about except for Friday. So should be a clean price action week this week. Hopefully we can see some nice movements and catch some nice clean presented setups. So Monday, Tuesday, no news. Wednesday, 8:30 a.m. core CPI, CPI-MM, and CPI-YY. Thursday, 8:30 a.m. we have core PPI-MM, PPI-MM unemployment claims, and then prelim UOM consumer sentiment and inflation expectations on 10 a.m. on Friday. Okay, so starting off with the watch list this week, we are looking at upside bias narrative here. If we just go to the 4-hour and the daily, you can see very strong upside grind. Nothing crazy though. It's definitely more so almost a strong consolidative upside grind. But definitely upside grind for sure. Upside narrative bias here without question. Across the markets overall as a whole. NQ definitely leading the way. SPY right behind. ES kind of being the slowest here, being the last to kind of really showcase some real divergent strength here also. But overall, that's going to, like I said, be the narrative there this week. So I'm going to show you ES as well here. Looking at ES, we also, like I said, have that same kind of structure here. Only variation here is the fact that ES is slightly behind the other two markets here, the other two indices. So we're going to look to see what we end up getting here structure-wise going into this new week. I really think upside bias is the present movement. So we do have a lot of upside setups, but we do also have Tesla setup also to the downside. So looking at, on the initial setup here, Google at 174.48. Also looking at this into 175, showing really strong divergent strength, especially on the 4-hour here. You can see we dropped down to the 1-hour. We can see the approach here. It just had a massive rally on Friday. Really a huge push up overall. We had a really big relief rally, obviously, of course, with the huge news on Tesla and that really controlling the market to come down pretty heavy on the NASDAQ on Thursday. So looking at this into the 174.57 level, into 175 on this given setup here, going into Monday. It's having nice support here overall, the EMA clouds, over off the 9 EMA. So we're seeing a pretty wide approach here on those spreads there of that EMA difference of the 20 and the 10, 9, whatever you want to call it, about the same thing. So overall, just looking to see support and this have a reversal straight through into the 174.57, 175 on Monday. Okay, upside. Meta, we're looking at 702.70 cents on this. Again, following everything else with the strength movement here, going to the upside. Looks very strong here going into the recent high on Friday we had at 702.81 cents. So looking at this as 702.81 cents as a scalp, but also looking at it potentially as continue to move into 705. This is showcasing a really heavy, strong push here. That has happened since I charted. There you go. You can see on the 3-minute. It just happened here in the last probably hour or so, 2 hours. So we're going to look to see this at 703 break into the 705 level here. It should be pretty clean if this has this continued strength. So this is just a quick momentum candle. Doesn't really mean a whole lot until that actually has some real volume backing it and some real bias. If we go to the 1 minute, take a look here. Yeah, just can't really see a whole lot going on here yet. So we're going to have to wait and see till tomorrow morning. But yeah, it looks like 705 is going to be the real clean level to come along tomorrow with some continued strength. Looking to really just see this as maybe even a swing hold too, also possibly with next week's contracts to the end of the week. So going to overall see what this ends up deciding it wants to do, and I think I will be swinging this depending on the kind of strength that this has with its continuative moves, hitting these new highs and so forth. Okay, so going into Microsoft, also looking at this next here, 473.34 at the high here, right? Looking at this to have continuation into the 475 level. Microsoft definitely a little bit behind here, but not indicating any true reversal or lack of continuative move here by. So definitely looking at the 173.34 cent high here for a scalp more than anything. As it being it's kind of like in no man's land. We don't have any range here. This is all-time high. So we're just gonna have to wait and see and be patient here because we really don't know exactly what it is we're gonna get. So just got to be really precautious here and probably being a little bit lighter on this, depending on what we end up getting structure-wise, support-wise, so forth here. So going to the next setup, we have NVIDIA at 144 and 145. Again, I don't know. Let's see. This is coming up on highs soon at 153.13. So if we look at this, NVIDIA at 134 or 143.84 at the recent double top level, key level here. Also going into 144, that high reversal rejection point is going to be a really interesting one. So looking to take this at the double top structure here for sure into the 144 level and having this as a 145 final target. 144 looking to scale out majority of my position there at that point, 3/4 likely. Just managing risk as this has a very, very high failure on follow through rate from my back testing on actual quality setups when they present themselves. So on their initial tests and so on and so forth, and further tests at that matter as well. Second, thirds, I've seen various reversals off of core key levels, whereas in another actual quality equity, these given setups would actually occur. So that's going to be my NVIDIA 144, 145 setup. We're also going to be looking at, as I said, Tesla. Tesla is going to be upside in, downside 305. Onto the upside, I look at this as almost a bottom out from the fear mongering, the fear settling of that, and looking at the continued reversal to the upside as another potential swing here along with Meta to upside, and taking this at the 305 breakout with continuation on my swing hold for a further date. So looking at this, like I said, at that point at the 300 level there, and looking to trade this, 305 rather, for upside, and then downside, I'm looking to take this at about, 290. I do like that kind of structure there. We don't have a whole lot of chop. It's just clean breaks through and through. So nice support starting to form here at the 291, 14 cent level, double bottom there on the 1 hour. So I'm going to look to see this at 290 more than likely. If not 290, probably 285, depending on what type of weakness we get. I might want to see some real, just, absolute share dumping here in order to take this type of structured setup here. Because just kind of a slow approach, is just not really what I'm looking for here. It's a great way to get stopped out because it's not being backed with volume. Especially if we have some serious conversions with the market at the given time. So I'm not looking to take this with a convergent market approach at all whatsoever. Also looking at Netflix here at the 1260 level with continuation up here. Of course, this is not the all-time high, but it is very close to it. And it was a failed breakout here at 1260 with 1262, 81 cents high. So double top structure essentially here, as you can see overall. So like I said, really looking to take this into the scalp of the high as well. That's really the only thing I'm interested in here on this segment, given equity at this present time, just because it's Netflix, and there's not much else to say about it in my book. Looking at my final one, it's going to be MSTR here at 380 upside. Let's pull that up. So MSTR 380 upside looks very nice, very strong. We had a gap up pre-market already. Currently, it looks like actually we already cracked 380, so I take that back. 380 is not going to be the setup then. But it's just a very, very strong upside narrative going up to it, along with everything else, pretty much. Very strong. So I really like this continued, especially the fact that it gapped up. It's really showcasing some real strength here. So I'm going to want to see this break here at the downtrend here, and really see some continuation probably to take this maybe into these highs at the 385 level. The stock moves very independently on its own. You can be in chop ranges, sort of like Tesla, and still get some really nice breakout movements here as well. Another thing to be aware of also is just the fact that we have major support here at the 200 EMA as well. So you can see this is consistently structured. We just gapped up and had support above that. So something to just be fully aware of is that variable also. Okay, so that's going to be the whole setup, the whole watch list this week, guys, with the news and earnings, of course, as always, narrative. So overall, pretty much top picks are going to be Meta, Tesla as always. That's how we do. That's why I'm extremely profitable, because I just select what happens all the time, what's the best profitable trades, Just had a straight green week, again, with all the students in the chat. So it's just a matter of making sure you guys are hyper-selective. Just taking the right setups. It's that simple, being disciplined, not over-trading, cutting yourself off once you've had a nice day. 2 back-to-back 15ers, there's no reason to stay in. There's no reason. Catch 20%ers, there's no reason to stay around. 10 a.m. cutoff for me anymore. And it's how I just basically show up every day and I'm just green, So selective about my trade. If it doesn't come around, I'm cash. And I consider that green. It's that simple. So make sure you guys are doing the same thing. Okay. This is not rocket science. It's not that complicated. It's just hard. It's that simple. Okay. It's just hard. So make sure you guys are doing the right choices in the hard days. Make sure you go easy when the market's hard and hard when the market's easy. And don't try to force things that aren't meant to be, right? So take the positions that are clear as day, and you'll know, especially if you got enough screen time in your book. All right, y'all. Have a great week. Let's kill it as always. Let's maintain consistency. Let's keep moving forward. Doing it as always. Let's be killers. So have a great week, y'all, and I'll see you next week. Peace.